0% of Shedeur Sanders' season qualifies him as a Pro Bowl player. Why is a player with those kind of numbers even being considered for the Pro Bowl?
On January 26, 2026, the NFL crossed a line it can't uncross. Shedeur Sanders, a rookie quarterback with losing numbers, more interceptions than touchdowns, and barely half a season of work, was named a Pro Bowler. And what followed exposed exactly how broken the honor has become, with NFL players giving their wild reactions on the controversy. The controversial selection that shook the NFL. You know, there are moments in the world of professional football that genuinely make you pause, take a step back, and wonder if the entire sport has collectively lost its mind. Moments that make you question everything you thought you knew about merit, achievement, and the sacred traditions that have defined excellence in the National Football League for generations upon generations. And ladies and gentlemen, what we witnessed on January 26, 2026 was precisely one of those earth-shattering, paradigm-shifting moments that will undoubtedly go down in the annals of NFL history as one of the most bewildering decisions ever made by the league. Shedeur Sanders, the rookie quarterback for the Cleveland Browns, was added to the 2026 Pro Bowl roster as a replacement for New England Patriots quarterback Drake May, who advanced to Super Bowl LX after defeating the Denver Broncos in the AFC Championship game. Now, before we dive deep into the absolute tsunami of reactions that followed this announcement, let us take a moment to fully appreciate and understand just how statistically underwhelming Shedeur Sanders' rookie season truly was. Sanders, a fifth-round draft pick, the first such rookie to make the Pro Bowl since Puka Nacua, becomes the first Browns QB to earn a Pro Bowl nod since Derek Anderson in 2008. But here's where the numbers get absolutely fascinating. And by fascinating, I mean downright disturbing for anyone who believes that the Pro Bowl should represent the pinnacle of individual achievement in professional football. Sanders' rookie stats included 1,400 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, 10 interceptions, a 56% completion rate, and a 3-4 record in his starts. Let those numbers sink in for just a moment. More interceptions than touchdowns, a completion percentage that would have been considered mediocre back in the 1970s, and a losing record as a starter. But perhaps no one articulated the absurdity of this situation quite like veteran sports broadcaster Trey Wingo, who absolutely dismantled the selection in a passionate and meticulously researched breakdown.
It's not Shedeur Sanders, the son of primetime Deion Sanders, one of the greatest players in the history of the NFL. It's not Shedeur Sanders, the guy who Mel Kiper and others were on the bandwagon for so hard in the draft, and he still fell to the 5th round. These are just the numbers of the player that just was elected to the Pro Bowl. His QBR out of 100 was 18.9.
That's right, folks. An 18.9 QBR out of 100. To put that into perspective, only Josh Dobbs posted a worse EPA per dropback among players with at least one pass attempt in 2025. And yet, somehow, someway, Shedeur Sanders is now officially a Pro Bowl quarterback. The immediate backlash was nothing short of volcanic. Within minutes of the announcement hitting social media, fans and analysts flooded platforms with outrage, calling for the Pro Bowl's abolition. But the criticism didn't just come from anonymous Twitter accounts and disgruntled fans. No, this controversy reached into the very heart of NFL royalty itself. Former San Diego Chargers linebacker Sean Merriman, a 3-time Pro Bowler known as Lights Out for his hard-hitting style, posted on X, "I have a Pro Bowl helmet that I walk by almost every day. It's signed by some of the best players in the history of the NFL, legends, HOFers, and real GOATs. The Pro Bowl used to be a badge of honor and respected. Things have changed." The post quickly went viral. Many interpreted it as a direct critique of Sanders' selection, given the timing and Sanders' subpar stats, with headlines framing it as Merriman trashing or going off on Sanders. Jim Rome, never one to mince words, took to his show with what can only be described as masterful sarcasm dripping from every syllable.
Personally, I think this is a great choice. In fact, if you want to be appalled or furious or insulted by anything, it's not that Shedeur was added to the roster as a replacement. It's that he wasn't named a starter in the first place. I mean, come on. Tell me one QB in the AFC more deserving of starting the Pro Bowl or whatever that debacle is now. Tell me one QB in the AFC more deserving than Shedeur Sanders.
The satire was razor sharp, the criticism unmistakable. Rome wasn't celebrating the selection. He was highlighting just how preposterous the entire situation had become. But perhaps the most damning indictment came from the cold, hard statistics that paint an undeniable picture of mediocrity dressed up in Pro Bowl clothing. Trevor Lawrence, who was reportedly one of the top alternates, had a far superior season. 4,007 yards, 38 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, 91.0 passer rating, and a 13-4 record. Lawrence declined the invitation, as did numerous other quarterbacks who actually posted numbers worthy of all-star recognition. And this is where the conversation shifts from simple disappointment to something far more troubling, the erosion of everything the Pro Bowl once represented.
What are we going to do with the NFL All-Star Game? It has had a precipitous decline in terms of players willing to participate, especially if you've just lost the AFC or NFC championship game. And they're trying to figure something out. And I give the commissioner, Roger, a lot of credit because he realized the game, even though it drew huge numbers, the actual game wasn't working anymore.
New Orleans Saints defensive end Cameron Jordan, an 8-time Pro Bowler himself, replied directly to Merriman's post, adding a resigned, almost weary perspective. Lol nah, it's always been like this, at least the last 7-8 years. Mitch Trubisky, Tyler Huntley, now Shedeur LL QBs and Pro Bowls for some reason. Don't truly add up. The comparison to Tyler Huntley's 2022 selection is particularly telling. Huntley made the Pro Bowl as a backup with minimal starts, and now Sanders has joined that dubious fraternity of quarterbacks whose Pro Bowl selections raise more questions than celebrations. Rich Eisen, the respected NFL Network host and anchor, couldn't hide his amazement when the news broke live on his show.
So, who's just been named as a replacement for Drake May? Shedeur Sanders.
Oh, yeah.
Has just been named as a Pro Bowl replacement. So, all the haters coming out. And I get it. You don't look at that. Listen,
this should not count as making the Pro Bowl.
I know. I get it. His numbers are not Pro Bowl worthy. He didn't play a full season. I understand it.
Eisen acknowledged that Sanders' stats did not warrant the honor on paper, noting his low touchdown to interception ratio, 7-10, incomplete season, and overall lack of impact in games. He speculated that the choice might stem from Sanders' high profile, boosted by his college stardom at Colorado under his father Deion Sanders, and the NFL's desire to draw eyeballs to the Pro Bowl, which has seen declining viewership. ESPN analyst Marcus Spears described the decision as crazy as hell, but ultimately a marketing move, stating, "Adding Brown's Shedeur Sanders to Pro Bowl is about marketing. I get it." And therein lies the crux of this entire controversy. The Pro Bowl, which once represented the absolute pinnacle of individual achievement in professional football, has devolved into something unrecognizable, a marketing vehicle, a ratings grab, a spectacle designed to generate clicks and controversy rather than celebrate genuine excellence. One Reddit thread highlighted the irony that the 5-12 Browns now have more Pro Bowlers than the 14-3 Super Bowl-bound Patriots. Let that sink in. A team that won barely a third of its games has more Pro Bowl representation than a team playing for the championship. Analyst John Root ripped the league. Pro Bowl is dead. What a joke. The question that now hangs over the entire NFL landscape is simple yet profound. What does it even mean to be a Pro Bowler anymore? But before this turns into a full-blown public execution, we need to slow down, because not everyone sees this as a disgrace. Some see it as harmless, some even see it as deserved, and that's where the conversation gets complicated. The defense and the deeper issues. Now, before we proceed any further down this rabbit hole of controversy and criticism, it would be intellectually dishonest of me not to acknowledge that Shedeur Sanders does have his defenders, his supporters, and those who view this Pro Bowl selection through an entirely different lens than the critics we've heard from thus far. Shannon Sharpe, the Pro Football Hall of Fame, tight end who won 3 Super Bowls and earned 8 Pro Bowl selections himself, took to his Nightcap podcast with co-host Chad Ochochinco Johnson to offer a passionate defense of the young quarterback.
So no matter what you think, Shedeur Sanders, whether he makes another one or not, when it's all said and done, he'll be a one-time Pro Bowl player. So how he got there is unimportant. Nobody's going to remember 5 years, 10 years, 15, 20, 30 years from now that he was an alternate and got selected to the Pro Bowl.
Sharp's argument carries a certain weight, coming as it does from a man who understands the significance of Pro Bowl selections perhaps better than most. His point is technically accurate. History books don't typically include asterisks next to Pro Bowl appearances noting whether a player was an original selection or an alternate. But here's where Sharp's defense begins to unravel under closer scrutiny. The very fact that we need to have this conversation, the very fact that we need to rationalize and justify how someone got to the Pro Bowl rather than celebrating the achievement itself, speaks volumes about how far the honor has fallen.
The Pro Bowl does not have the same recognition that it once did. It used to mean something to go to the Pro Bowl.
Who you telling?
It used to mean something. And when you look at that ball and you see all those names, you saw the Elways and the Marinos and the Tom Brady's and the Peyton Mannings.
Even in their defense of Sanders, Sharp and Johnson couldn't help but acknowledge the fundamental truth that underlies this entire controversy. The Pro Bowl simply isn't what it used to be. Matt Barnes and Keyshawn Johnson from All the Smoke offered a more casual, positive reaction, calling the selection a good gesture and noting Sanders' marketability. He sells tickets and brings joy to fans. This perspective frames the Pro Bowl not as an achievement to be earned, but as an entertainment product to be sold, a transformation that many longtime fans find deeply troubling. But perhaps the most revealing aspect of this entire situation isn't the defense or the criticism. It's the pattern of behavior and attitude that has followed Shedeur Sanders throughout his football career, a pattern that many believe contributed directly to his dramatic draft slide and now colors how his Pro Bowl selection is being perceived. Throughout his college tenure at Jackson State in Colorado, Sanders faced persistent scrutiny for what critics described as cockiness, arrogance, entitlement, and a prioritization of personal branding over team-oriented humility. These perceptions were amplified by his high-profile family background, flashy demeanor, and lucrative name, image, and likeness deals, which reportedly exceeded $1 million early in his career and ballooned to around $6 million by his final season. At the NFL Scouting Combine in February 2025, an anonymous longtime NFL assistant coach described one of Sanders' interview sessions as the worst formal interview I've ever been in my life, calling Sanders entitled, criticizing his body language, and accusing him of blaming teammates while taking unnecessary sacks.
It was, you look at the protection that Dylan Raiola had compared to mine. That pick six, he had really damn good protection when he was in the end zone. It was really good protection that Colorado gave him.
This clip from Sanders' post-game press conference following Colorado's loss to Nebraska perfectly encapsulates the attitude that has drawn criticism throughout his career. Rather than accepting responsibility, rather than shouldering the burden that great quarterbacks are expected to carry, Sanders immediately deflected blame onto his offensive line. Sports columnist Mike Farrell noted that in about 15 seconds, Shedeur managed to crush his offensive line's ability to both pass, protect, and run block, emphasizing that while the criticism might be factually accurate, it was poor leadership from a veteran quarterback.
What was one of his main criticisms last year of Shedeur Sanders? Was the sack numbers, and he was taking so many sacks because he didn't want his stats to look bad.
The pattern extends beyond just press conferences. Sanders' tendency to hold the ball too long, leading to sacks. He was sacked 52 times in 2024 at Colorado. Poor timing in plays and negative body language toward teammates were all cited by scouts as concerns. His flashy persona, flexing a diamond-studded watch during games and promoting his two legendary clothing line, was seen by some as immature or distracting. Projected as a top 5 pick in early 2024 mocks, Sanders slid dramatically to the 5th round, where the Cleveland Browns selected him. This wasn't just a minor slide, it was a plummet of historic proportions, one that many attributed directly to the attitude concerns that had followed him throughout his college career. New York Giants offensive tackle Jermaine Elwemunor called the Pro Bowl a joke after the Sanders selection, pointing out that his teammate Andrew Thomas, an elite left tackle, has never been selected despite superior play. He argued fan voting and name recognition undermine merit. If you're popular, you get in. This criticism from an active NFL player carries particular weight. Elwemunor isn't a media personality looking for clicks or a former player reminiscing about the good old days. He's someone currently competing at the highest level who has witnessed firsthand how players who genuinely deserve recognition are being overlooked in favor of those with bigger names and larger social media followings. Even Ken Carman of 92.3, the fan in Cleveland, expressed frustration, calling the selection totally unfair to Sanders himself because it places him in an undeserved spotlight, noting he couldn't decline the invitation without risking risking NFL relations. This perspective offers an interesting twist. The idea that the selection might actually be a disservice to Sanders, setting him up for inevitable comparisons to quarterbacks who actually posted Pro Bowl-worthy numbers. The nepotism accusations have also resurfaced with renewed vigor. When Colorado retired Shedeur's number 2 jersey, a move criticized as premature given his middling team record and lack of major bowl wins or championships, comedian Shane Gillis mocked this at the 2025 ESPYS, saying, "Shedeur Sanders had his jersey number retired at Colorado this year, and people are saying it's because of nepotism, because of his father, and it's not. It's because he went 13-12 over his career, and he almost won the Alamo Bowl. Definitely not nepotism, right?" The audience reaction was mixed, but the underlying sentiment was clear. There's a growing perception that Shedeur Sanders has benefited from opportunities and honors that his on-field performance alone would never have earned him. And then there's the matter of the speeding tickets. In June 2025, Sanders was involved in 2 speeding incidents in Ohio. The second incident involved speeds of 101 miles in a 60-mile zone, qualifying as reckless operation under Ohio law. This came just hours after he missed a court date for his first speeding citation. These incidents, while not directly related to his football abilities, added to the narrative of a young player who perhaps doesn't fully grasp the responsibilities that come with being a professional athlete and a public figure.
0% of Shedeur Sanders' season qualifies him as a Pro Bowl player. The question now becomes, why is a player with those kind of numbers even being considered for the Pro Bowl? And the issue is because a lot of the people who have earned the right to be there by their stats and the way they played and the things they did for their team have decided to not participate.
Trey Wingo's assessment cuts right to the heart of the matter. This isn't about hating Shedeur Sanders as a person. This isn't about denying his potential or wishing him ill. This is about confronting the uncomfortable reality that the Pro Bowl, once the ultimate individual honor in professional football, has become something almost unrecognizable from what it used to be. And that's the problem. The moment you stop debating performance and start debating justifications, the honor itself is already in trouble. Because this isn't just about one Pro Bowl nod, it's about the trail that led here. The death of merit and what comes next. It's worth stepping back to examine not just what the Shedeur Sanders Pro Bowl selection means in isolation, but what it represents for the broader landscape of professional football and the values we once held sacred in this sport. Skip Bayless, never one to shy away from controversy, offered what might be the most honest assessment of the situation, one that simultaneously defends the selection while acknowledging everything that's wrong with it. Bayless stated, on draw, he's a Pro Bowler, on interest generated, on magnetism, on eyeballs. People watch Shedeur Sanders. He described the Pro Bowl as a dying breed and suggested Sanders was selected to save the game amid dropping interest.
And now this is their Hail Mary. The league going full troll, full hot take factory, and putting Shedeur on the team for absolutely no reason other than to get people to lose their minds both ways and get people to actually care about this game. But people with actual brains don't and never will.
Jim Rome's assessment is brutal in its clarity. The NFL has essentially abandoned any pretense that the Pro Bowl is about celebrating the best players in the game. It has become a content generator, a conversation starter, a vehicle for driving engagement through controversy rather than excellence. The Pro Bowl selection process, which involves fan voting, player votes, and coaching input, has long been criticized for leading to alternates being added late due to injuries, Super Bowl commitments, or opt-outs. The Sanders case amplifies these concerns to an unprecedented degree. Consider this: Sanders ranked 10th in Pro Bowl fan voting among quarterbacks despite his underwhelming stats, largely due to his high-profile family background and social media presence. He accumulated more votes than players who had objectively superior seasons simply because of who his father is and the attention that follows the Sanders name wherever it goes.
You sell it by putting someone like Shedeur Sanders in because the NFL knows that he will bring eyeballs. He will bring clicks. He will bring takes for days. This is not a take. This is a simple analysis of the situation based on the data.
The implications of this shift are profound and far-reaching. If the Pro Bowl is no longer about rewarding the best performances, then what becomes of the players who actually deserve recognition? What happens to the offensive linemen who dominate their opponents week after week but lack the social media following to generate votes? What happens to the defensive tackles who stuff the run and collapse pockets but don't have famous fathers to ensure sure their names stay in the conversation. Emmanuel Acho on the Speakeasy show described Sanders as the latest poster child for the Pro Bowl's issues, emphasizing it's not Sanders' fault, but a systemic problem. This is a crucial point that deserves emphasis. Shedeur Sanders didn't select himself to the Pro Bowl. He didn't stuff the ballot boxes or bribe the selection committee. He simply said yes when the NFL came calling, as virtually anyone would in his position. But the fact that we even need to have this conversation, the fact that we need to debate whether a quarterback with more interceptions than touchdowns belongs in the same conversation as Josh Allen and Justin Herbert tells us everything we need to know about where the Pro Bowl stands today. The allegations that have swirled around Sanders' journey only add another layer of complexity to this already convoluted narrative. Pro Football Hall of Fame running back Eric Dickerson claimed he heard from a very good source that the NFL had instructed teams not to draft Sanders early or at all to make an example out of him. Whether these claims have any merit or not, they've become part of the mythology surrounding Sanders, adding fuel to the fire for both his supporters and detractors. A Colorado Buffaloes fan even filed a $100 million lawsuit against the NFL, claiming the league's alleged actions caused him severe emotional distress and trauma. The lawsuit, while almost certainly destined for dismissal, speaks to the passionate divide that Sanders inspires, a divide that the NFL seems more than happy to exploit for ratings and engagement.
Take the long view. The long view in Shedeur Sanders right now is that we saw some stuff that was really good. We also saw some stuff that was really bad. And for any progress to be made this offseason, the most important thing for Shedeur to do is work on the stuff that he can do better and try and minimize those mistakes.
Trey Wingo's measured advice cuts through the noise to offer something genuinely constructive. Sanders has potential. Few would dispute that. His college career at Colorado showed flashes of genuine talent, and even his rocky rookie season had moments that suggested a higher ceiling than his statistics might indicate. But potential isn't achievement. Flashes aren't consistency, and a Pro Bowl selection should represent more than the hope that a player might someday become worthy of such recognition. Merriman clarified in follow-up replies that his comments were not aimed at Sanders personally, writing, "When did this come about Shedeur? It's not his fault. He wasn't standing on the corner of the NFL building lobbying for the Pro Bowl, but there has to be a better system in place for guys to make it." This is perhaps the most important takeaway from this entire controversy. The problem isn't Shedeur Sanders. The problem is a system that has lost its way, a selection process that values engagement over excellence, and a league that seems content to watch one of its most prestigious honors diminish in meaning with each passing year.
It's a huge honor, and like I said, 25, 30 years from now, everybody won't nobody remember that he was an alternate. They'll look like, man, Shedeur made the Pro Bowl.
Shannon Sharp's words hang in the air with uncomfortable weight. Yes, history may forget the context. Yes, future generations may look at Sanders' career statistics and see Pro Bowl quarterback without knowing how that designation came to be. But those of us watching in real time, those of us who remember what the Pro Bowl once meant and represented, will carry this memory with us. We'll remember the year that a quarterback with a 56% completion rate and a losing record was deemed worthy of standing alongside legitimate stars. We'll remember the year that marketing triumphed over merit, that clicks mattered more than completions, that engagement eclipsed excellence. Deion Sanders, Shedeur's father and Colorado coach, reacted positively on social media, posting, "God is so darn good. That's why we praise God when we win or lose, because he's worthy to be praised at all times." And perhaps that's the most fitting conclusion to this entire saga, a celebration from the Sanders family amid what many perceive as the death knell for meaningful Pro Bowl recognition. The Pro Bowl isn't dead yet, but it's certainly on life support. And unless the NFL makes serious changes to how players are selected, unless they find a way to restore merit to an honor that has become almost meaningless, the Sanders selection won't be remembered as an anomaly. It will be remembered as the moment we all finally admitted what had been obvious for years. The Pro Bowl, as we once knew it, is gone. What remains is something else entirely. A marketing vehicle, a conversation starter, a controversy generator. And Shedeur Sanders, for better or worse, has become the face of that transformation. If you enjoyed watching this video, click on one of the boxes playing on your screen to watch more similar content.